That's your paradise? Birds of Paradise? That's
Yes,
nightmare fuel.
what do
That's
you
like
mean,
Alfred
a fool?
Hitchcock.
You're taking that game a little bit more seriously.
I'm going to be the guy to tangent off of, even though I'm supposed to keep us on track here. Welcome to WWB Ward Wide Broadcast. This is episode 59, and it's a special episode. We have a guest on. This is Tristan from the Curious Crow Company in Lexington, Minnesota. You guys are a card store owner or a card store shop that distributes, I would say, probably the number one card store shop that distributes Ward to, I would say, the Minneapolis region. Lots of people come to your store for Ward. You've thrown on many tournaments. So Tristan, if you could maybe take the floor and just introduce yourself and kind of your business, the Curious Crow, and just talk about how you kind of got that all started, and then we'll probably jump into your contributions to Ward.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Harry. Love to be here. Seen some of the podcast episodes, and I'm happy to be a part of this. And with the Ward community, they've been wonderful, and I thank you again for having me. So the Curious Crow, Northeast Metro of the Twin Cities. We started a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, and my partner and I, Erin, who's also my wife, she's my business partner. She's actually the controlling partner. I'm the minority partner, just to make sure people don't confuse me with being the important person there.
Erin's the big boss.
Right. She is the driving force behind it, bar none. All the hard stuff, the business side, the technical stuff that is beyond me, she handles. We had an idea about 2.5 years ago where we wanted to sell nerd items and nerd related things because I have a huge nerd collection at home, and she was a little tired of seeing all of it. And I guess her idea at the start of this was she wanted that collection to be used to sell things online. My idea was to procure other nerd items and sell those and continue to maintain my nerd collection at home.
Got to keep your hoard, your stash, right? We all
Right,
sit on
yeah.
our dragon stash of hoard nerd items.
Video games, trading cards, comics, action figures. The list goes on and on. So after a few months of that, we thought we might be able to make an actual go at a storefront. And so we started putting together some plans, a business plan to get some investment, pooled some money. And we thought, well, if the right place comes along, we'd worked from home in our previous jobs and knew we didn't want a big commute. So we knew, well, the place has to be relatively close to where we live, so we don't spend a lot of our life driving. If we're going to really open a business, we want to make it something that we're not going to spend some of our life having to drive to. Well, within a few months of looking, we found a spot in Lexington, Minnesota, which is right down the road from where we live in the Northeast Twin Cities. Just 15 minutes out of Roseville, really. And the price was right. The space was huge. Not knocking other game stores, but I have visited quite a few in my time as a customer, and there's a few things that always kind of stuck with me that Erin and I decided we wanted to bring to the new store. Most other game stores are a lot of product and inventory in a small space. Right. They are a lot of things, lights, things all over the walls, just a lot of visual and sometimes even auditory things to distract you or get in your face or say, hey, come buy me. I get it. It's retail.
Yeah,
So
I don't want to cut you off, but I also, Tristan, I agree with you because a lot of the stores here in the Duluth Superior area that I go to that have card stores, you're right. They don't just do cards, and from when I came to Curious Crow, like I said, you guys definitely display your hobbies and the things that you're into all around the store, which I really like. But like you said, it's not like like a lot of these other places, they kind of put cards second. It's like, ooh, this is something that I'm really into and I want everybody else to get into. But then, like you said, usually their storefront is like other stuff that isn't really related. So I kind of know exactly what you're kind of getting at. Sorry, you can continue though.
Oh, that's exactly right. It's a mixed message. It is cluttered. It is cramped. one thing that Aaron and I both experienced at these other stores is if you've ever yourself or have known someone or been in a retail environment with someone that's in a wheelchair, on crutches, differently abled, it's palpable. You can almost feel the embarrassment they feel when someone's trying to get by them when they're in an aisle shopping like anyone else. We not only didn't want to assault the senses, but we also wanted to have a space that was truly open for everyone. So the aisles between product are extra wide. So there's easy access for anyone. We have double doors at the front. So if you have someone that has trouble going through a single door, whether it's because of their wheelchair or for any other reason, you have double door access right in the front. So we wanted accessibility for everyone. We did not want to assault the senses of anyone that had maybe some neurospiciness that makes it difficult to go to a place that has a lot of visual things popping out and saying buy me and this over there and bright and flashing and all this stuff. And we wanted room and space to make it feel more inviting. Mm-hmm. And we found the place at the Northway Shopping Center, and it was a former boxing gym. And so they had a separate room, almost 3,000 square feet, that they used for dance classes, that has its own open and shut doors, two different entrances. And we thought that would be perfect for events. No longer, much like other game stores, even wonderful game stores, it feels like retail first and tables to play on second, which is fine because money's not infinite and you have to choose. And I get it that retail puts money towards rent, lights, paying employees. I'm not knocking it. We were just fortunate enough to find a space where we had a whole separate room that can seat up to 100 people with tables and chairs that can be closed off for private events, for table rentals, for ward tournaments, for magic tournaments, all these different things. And it was kind of one of those things where we weren't looking right away, like we were kind of looking, but not really looking. And we found a place nearby, the right price, had all this room. And Erin came from also, in one of her many backgrounds, was successfully running and managing and operating bars, restaurants. And we also knew that some of the places we've been to before, like Game Center, formerly Fantasy Flight Games, and there's a few others, I'm sorry if I'm forgetting their names right now, that serve alcohol and food, so you don't have to go out and find a place to get something, let alone have a beer while playing Warhammer or that intense game of cribbage that you and your friends are playing there. You can't have a beer while you're playing that or a glass of wine, maybe some popcorn. So Aaron went through the laborious process of getting a liquor license, which is a lot more complicated than it seems, at least in Minnesota.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, the city of Lexington was very easy to work with, but we're not just working with the city, we're working with the state when it comes to that. Mm-hmm. And again, it's a lot of the rules and regulations are there to protect people. This is not a knock on that. It's just, it was a hard process for Aaron to go through. And I want to illustrate, she did all the hard work so we can serve beer, wine, and even hard liquor if we wanted.
No,
so we have that license.
I appreciate the amount of effort, like you said. There's a lot of these little things that when you don't own a store or like understand, it's like it's awesome to see the appreciation you guys put into all these little details, like you said, the doors, the space, these things like, oh, people are gonna get hungry when they're here, people are gonna want to drink when they're here. It's like, here, we're gonna try to take away all those things that, like you said, when you might go to another store, you're like, ooh, it's kind of crammed, it's a little this, and it alleviates and eliminates all those things. So it's like, as my first experience coming to the Crow, that was obviously the first take I had. I think the biggest thing you kind of brought up, like your little event hall. So you go through the front door, and right on your right, there's just these two big double doors again that swing open, and it just feels like you're walking down like the red carpet into like a big event hall. And I think that is one of the best experiences, especially when you do have a huge tournament going on. I think that really showcases just how much space and how much time and how much energy you guys put into all of it.
Right. Thank you for noticing that. I mean, it's one of those things where we have online advertising, we have online videos, but the scope and size of the place has yet to be translated on video. You just don't know how high the ceilings are, how open it is until you set foot inside the Curious Crow. And I say that with all honesty, not as an owner, but as an aficionado and appreciator of nerd spaces of all shapes and sizes. I love some of the small stores I go into where there's a treasure around every corner, it feels like. And, there's all these mystical things I could find in there for my nerd hobbies. But I've never really encountered a space like the Crows before where it is so open and so huge. I mean, our event space is the size of some places' stores, bigger than some places' stores. And the wonderful thing about it is you don't have people reaching around you and trying to buy that game of Catan or the new sleeves or the next Strixhaven, Secrets of Strixhaven
Right.
Magic set while you're playing a tournament. You are in your own space so you can concentrate on what you're there to do. Or if you're just out there with friends and family having a board game night. Either way, you're not interrupted by retail. Retail is there, but when you're in the event room, you're in the event room. It's a different space.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, the alcohol and snacks, sodas, and then the retail, we kind of had our three pillars, along
Right.
with some of the desires we had for inclusion. And we decided based on that, we were also going to be Minnesota focused, since we are based in Minnesota. If you didn't know where the Twin Cities were, for those of you listening around the world, we are in the state of Minnesota. So we focused on beer, wine, soda, and snacks only from Minnesota vendors. But on top of that, only from Minnesota vendors that direct distribute. Now, if you're not aware of how that works, if you're not in the food industry or whatnot, it's super easy to find a distribution center and go through them for all these different beers, wines, sodas, snacks, what have you, and they bring them out, deliver them to you. They take their cut, but you get convenience out of it.
Mm-hmm.
We also decided not only to go only with Minnesota stuff only, but to go with places that self-distribute. And that means that 100% of what we're paying them goes to them. There's
Right.
no middle person. So that does cut down some of our options, but we've found we currently work with 4 different local breweries, 2 different vineyards, 1 soda company, and 2, possibly upcoming, maybe 3 different snack vendors, all based in Minnesota. All the money's going towards them directly and to the people that are making it in Minnesota. We thought that was very important. Along with that, we have a whole front wall, not a back hidden wall, front wall of the store devoted to local artists, where local artists can come in. We take a look at what they've got. If it fits our aesthetic, which is nerdy, sci-fi, fantasy type things, we ask them, well, what would you, if you were at an art fair, sell this for? Okay, we will sell it for that. We're not going to take it on, consignment.
Right.
We're going to ask you what you want to get paid for this and what you sell this for. We're going to pay you what you want to get paid, even if it means we're making 1 to 5% profit on it. And we're going to sell it exactly for what you sell it for on your Etsy, your website, whatever. So we're not competing with you. And you're also going to get a paragraph, if you want, next to your product on that wall that directs people to your site if they want more information, if they want different products than what we have. We are going to promote you and get your name out there.
Mm-hmm.
So our whole front wall of the store is devoted to local Minnesota artists. And we have everything right now from artwork, drawings and prints, authors, local authors. We have people that have made wooden cribbage boards. We have wine stoppers, glass wine stoppers. We have keychains. And there's a whole host of other things that I'm forgetting right now from local artists that are all there up front. They've already gotten paid. We're taking all the risk at this point, and we are not making very much above what we paid them. So local is big, not just in the beverages, but with our art wall.
No,
And then
sorry, I do want to cut you off. Just, I think that really highlights, like you said, just your guys' contribution to the community. Giving back for what I would assume you feel like you guys got in return, and obviously the loyalty of having people from your area that are all contributing to your guys' company. And like you said, it helps establish those 3 pillars that you brought up earlier about running the Curious Crow. I do want to translate that into maybe as we move forward. How did you find Ward, and like why are trading card games maybe a big important aspect of your guys' company?
Sure. Well, I mean, to be honest, that fits right into the local thing, right? Ward is made in Minnesota. It was created in Minnesota. We started out with that local focus, and a local one of the local residents in our community approached us with this different card game made in Minnesota called Nostalgics. And we took a look at it. We liked it. We thought it had some legs, and so we bought in on it. And we stocked Nostalgics, and we still do carry some Nostalgics products. And it's made locally, and it's distributed worldwide. You can find it at stores in the UK, Australia, whatnot. And we started getting into the local game thing. We've had other local games approach us, and for a variety of reasons, we've decided not to partner with them at this time. But we partnered with Nostalgics, and once we partnered with Nostalgics, I believe Tom Casey from Ward reached out to us and showed up and kind of was dressed very professionally as he always is in a red Ward polo, and he gave us kind of a demo of the game and gave us some of the packs you might see at some of their vendor booths, the black packs that they hand out at
Right.
some of the conventions and whatnot. And we got to put our hands on the cards, see the cards, kind of experience it, and how it kind of marries, in my opinion, Dungeons and Dragons with fantastic art style and deck building. But it's not just on deck building and how much money you can put in, it's on the luck factor, and that really drew us to it. And so he wanted to host a tournament, and we were all about it. Local, let's support local. And to be honest, he wanted to know if we wanted to buy in then and there. And we said, well, let's hold off. Let's hold the tournament first, and you guys hold the tournament here, and we'll kind of see what the turnout is. And so that first tournament, I mean, I think the turnout was, you know, 20 to 30 people. It wasn't, you know, a few stragglers and their parents or anything like that. It was a decent turnout for a local Minnesota game.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked numbers with Tom, and we decided that was something we wanted to carry right after that tournament. And we bought in, I think, fairly big since then. We're one of two places online that I think sell singles. Sinister D and us are the only two places that sell singles online besides eBay and whatnot, but official stores. And I believe there's other stores that I know of up north in northern Minnesota that sell singles. Other stores sell singles, but I think we're only one of two that sell them online.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
How do you
we
feel?
bought
Can
in.
I tangent real quick? How do you feel about selling the Ward product online, just in specifically? I guess if you could cover that, maybe if that's something you're willing to share. Do you feel
Sure,
like it's
yeah.
it's worth the
So
value to do?
we very early on, before we even had a storefront, sold sealed cards online. I think it was One Piece, Magic, all the Yu-Gi-Oh, things like that. And
Right.
we had a couple bad experiences with sealed product online. Um, I'm not going to say that they intentionally were ripping us off, but we got a bunch of chargebacks on sealed product.
Mm-hmm.
Never on the individual cards, only on
Right.
the sealed card product. So we decided that moving forward, only singles would be sold online, none of our sealed product for any type of card. So while we have a ton of Ward in stock, a ton, none of it's available online. You got to come in to get it. Now the singles are a different story. We thought there was value there in the singles, so we bought in on the singles. I will say at this point, it's a long-term bet. In my
Mm-hmm.
experience with the store, the Ward community is so involved, especially through Discord and even locally with a lot of the families that are involved in our area with trading, which is great. We encourage that. Come out to tournaments, trade. We're not going to have bat an eye at that. We're not going to have a problem with that.
Right.
But that does diminish quite a bit the demand for a card at $2 or $3 that we have on our shelf when you could trade something that you have no value in, whether we value it as a $5 card or a 50-cent card. You personally, you don't want it. You're looking to get rid of it. And that person over there has that $2 card. You could do a one-for-one swap. maybe even just worry about the rarities, maybe not, depending on foil or whatnot. And you get the cards you both want. Bob's your uncle.
Right.
So we have found, other than a few more rare cards, which we have shipped across state lines to different places that are just getting into Ward, where maybe they don't have that trading community built up yet, or they haven't discovered the Discord trading community where people ship stuff.
Right. Ward is kind of
the
still in
single-
that stage where, yeah, I think it still needs to kind of fully spread out everywhere. But I do know what you mean. At least you're giving them that option for sure. So, yeah, sorry, you can continue.
Yeah, no, but so the singles right now that we've got are Gen 1 and Gen 2 singles. We've had a few people interested in selling some Gen 3. We're going to wait a little bit on Gen 3. We'll maybe start buying some singles from people in the coming months just to let the prices kind of figure out where they want to be. Because one of the things I was kind of alluding to earlier, with us and Sinister D being the ones online that are visible besides eBay, which is the Wild West, you can put anything up there for any amount. It doesn't mean it's going to sell at that.
Doesn't really set the market value, yeah, for sure.
Right. So if there's two stores that are kind of trying to figure out pricing here, it makes it kind of difficult to hop into Gen 3 right away, one. And two, okay, we have two stores setting the pricing, but if most of the community right now is trading instead of buying, what really is the dollar amount on those cards? Sure, that might be a legendary card or an epic or what have you, but what does that really mean when it comes down to it's not moving? So we've decided that it's not popular, it's that people have other avenues right now to get cards, the trading market. And to be honest, if I could take our selfish interests of wanting to make money out of it as a card player, I'm much happier with that. We focus on the fun of playing for a lot of our other card events. Like we host so many events for other games that winning isn't the end all be all. We have a Magic Popper night where we built almost 40 decks out of our 10-cent bin. You roll a dice, that's your deck for that round. Everyone's playing with the $6 deck of cards for that Magic tournament. Easy buy-in, playing for the fun of it. We have a Commander night for Magic where at the end of each match, people vote at the table on who they had the most fun playing against, and that's your points for that tournament. Not the win. The win is secondary. It doesn't matter. It's playing for the fun of it. And tying that all in with the Ward community being so heavily on trading and being so vested in members of that community, getting to that 150 club and getting the cards they really want, or a play set of the cards they really want, or Casey's hunt for the foils that we're all rooting for. That is wonderful to me. But that does, on bringing the financial business side in, make it trickier when we are buying and selling singles. So, long story made hopefully more short.
Right. Hold on. I'm curious. So, as you know right now, they've sold out, from their website, from their distributors, they've sold out all of Gen 3. So, I know you have tons of boxes of Gen 3, but what does that look like for you, though, when it's like, okay, that's already sold out, so it's like this, distribute of this, like, first print is already kind of, like, out there. It's like, so is that what you mean? You want to maybe wait to see how that starts to look before you can put the Gen 3 into that cycle, I guess I would say?
Yeah, it's also, like, I have to give a shout out to Sinister D again. We had no idea on the market. When we started selling Ward singles, I copied prices from Sinister D's website. Sinister D's the one that set the market there.
Right.
And then as we sold and didn't sell things, we gradually kind of adjusted where card prices were, and we differ a little bit from Sinister D. And so with Gen 3 being freshly out there, I'm still kind of waiting. I say even though it's Aaron and I, because I'm the main card buyer. So I don't mean that it's not a we. It's just, I said because I'm the main card buyer here.
Got what you're saying.
I decided that I wanted to wait on Gen 3 because Gen 1 and Gen 2, they'll sell, but not at the rate of we would like, to be honest. And again, it's because of the great trading community. It's not for lack of interest. We have grown. One of the amazing things about Ward in our area is kids have gotten into it. And I'm talking 5th graders, 6th graders, 7th graders, 4th graders. The beautiful thing about it is they're recruiting their friends, and it's growing, and their friends and they are recruiting their parents. And so now we have parents that are meeting to play Ward with one another on one of our trading card nights on Tuesdays, where you're just invited to play any trading card game and whatnot. Parents are meeting up for a beer on Tuesday nights and playing Ward. And then when we have tournaments, the parents and the kids are in the tournament, and it's bringing families closer together, which is right in line with one of our community pillar.
Mm-hmm.
And it's growing. And we even had one of the local elementaries here. Some of the kids there were playing Ward so much, not waiting for it to be after school, that they had a week where Ward cards were banned.
Oh boy,
So
you did
not,
it. You got
trading
Ward cards.
card game,
Good job, Tristan.
not trading cards,
Just
Ward
Ward
specifically. So it is really spreading to that, and it's doing something wonderful with the families.
Right.
And so when we see people drive down from the Iron Range or over from Wisconsin, like one of the Discord members on here does.
Lenrod.
Yep, Lenrod. I didn't know his Discord name, so I wasn't going to name him.
No, you're good. I got you
by name. You see not just Ward players that you maybe normally see at some of these other tournaments, because Ward players will drive, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
But you see these parents and kids there, and I don't know if that happens, at least from the pictures I see at some of these other Ward tournaments. It seems a very typical trading card market. And it's not bad. It's generally males, generally white males with disposable income. Maybe they have kids, maybe they don't.
Right.
That's generally the makeup you see. And then you come to our Ward tournament, there's moms and kids, there's dads and kids, there is, there could be I don't know if any other store can say this with Ward. We could have, like golf has the senior tour and then the regular tour. We could have a senior tour with just adults for Ward, and we could have a kid one. There's enough kids in the kid pool that love this game in our area, and it is spread like so much wildfire. We could end up having that, and I think that's wonderful. And then it doesn't even talk about the boss battle decks, where one of the biggest selling points we have for this game is for the families. And as young couples come in, I see it, that are tired of the Pokemon grind. They can't find packs anywhere, scalpers, all this stuff. They're tired of collecting. We have so many couples with not as much disposable income because of their age and whatnot. I would say in their 20s, they're young to me. And they come in and they love Pokemon, but Ward, they can find it.
Right.
And you start to describe Ward, and Pokemon, they just collect it. And maybe one of the two of them wasn't interested in learning how to play because it was head-to-head. Magic, Pokemon, it's head-to-head. Head-to-head. And the wonderful thing about Ward is once you describe the boss battle decks, where, yes, you could go head-to-head, or you could do something together. And now it is not so much the imbalance that almost always happens when one person's learning a game that another person loves. That first match, that person that's just learning either feels like you let me win, and that wasn't really fun, or you blew me out of the water because you know what you're doing and I don't. And so the wonderful thing with the boss battle decks is, with some basic knowledge, watching one of the beautiful videos on YouTube, they get the idea, and then you can both sit down and battle the frog or whoever else, and you're doing something together. And
I think
it's wonderful.
You painted that picture so vividly, and I do think I remember the first time that Joe and Tommy, like I'm trying to think when they first announced the boss battles, but as soon as they said it, I think almost everyone was in agreement. They were like, "This is the million idea for a trading card game that I think no one else has solved." Is just like you said, the hardest thing is getting people into the game that don't have that huge love for, like you said, collecting and playing against their friends and family. Where it's like, okay, now you have another experience where you can all sit down at a table and play. But again, like you said, it's not this like, oh, I don't want to get beat or whatever. There's none of those feelings. It's all just, hey, let's just have fun. Like you said, go get a beer from the bar or do whatever and just relax and play. And so like I really do think Ward kind of stumbled on their million idea when they came up with the boss battles. And as you're bringing up, I meant just the success of that, I think is going to carry them very far.
Right. I totally agree. So that's our experience with Ward has been great. We host official tournaments once a month This is the first month we've taken off, and it was just due to scheduling since we started carrying Ward. Otherwise, we have monthly tournaments, and Ward players are welcome out on Tuesdays when we have trading card Tuesdays just for free play. But we have tournaments monthly, and the turnout's been great. The audience has been great. The support from Ward has been great, and we look forward to more continued partnership with Ward in the future.
No, I really do like that. And like you said, so like as going forward tournaments, you're still planning on doing like once a month. I mean, you seem pretty heavily invested in the tournament scene. I mean, do you want to maybe just go over like what your favorite style of tournament to throw on, or just your favorite thing in general when it comes to those events that you really enjoy about them?
Yeah, so I think that might be different than the community.
That's
the
okay.
community tells me stuff that's different when they're at least at our store. My favorite is honestly the our kind of I wouldn't say trademark, but our way of picking names out of an envelope, and every person gets 4 matches. We don't worry about putting winners with winners and non-winners with non-winners. It is just luck of the draw. You just don't face the same person twice in the same tournament. And I love that. I absolutely love that. It's random, just like dice rolls. It is in no way bracketed, and luck of the name in the envelope, boom, there's your match, and then we figure out the winner after everyone does 4 matches.
Right.
That's my favorite to host.
As someone who has participated in that, and I've also participated in, like you said, heavy seated bracketing, where I most often only play the people at the top end of the table. I never get to meet the new faces or explain to them, my love for the game. So having a tournament like you said that you throw on, where it is just random and you can just get put it with whoever, it's like you really do just get to really meet everybody who has come to that event. And I think it's just such a great way, like you said, that wholesome bringing everyone together experience that you guys try to foster at the Curious Crow. I really do appreciate, like you said. So I like it when we do the random envelope. When you come out and you're holding that thing and you're like, all right, everybody, here we go. Let's figure out who's playing who. And it gives that little suspense. So it's great. For
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, and to be fair, it also builds right in with the idea of boss battle decks and community, because these young kids, let's say they start off, and if it's the traditional style where they're paired winners with winners and non-winners with non-winners, you get better by getting beat. You get better by playing better players. You learn new ideas and ways of thinking things by playing better players. And if you're only ever playing players that are getting beat and you're getting beat, sure, one of you is going to win, but you're not encountering some of these ideas that are going to invest you long term. You have a higher chance, and I have no statistics to back this up, but I feel like you have a higher chance of dropping a game that you love if you're not growing, if you're not learning new things, if it's not keeping you excited and involved.
Right.
And so if you're, say, the kid that just picked up their first starter deck, and this is their first or second tournament, and they're facing off against Billy or you or KC or some of these people, or Lauren, or some of these people that, at least at our tournaments, are typically in the top no matter what. They're not learning some of the card interactions, some of the combos, different ways of playing, different, even down to ethics and table manners at a table. When you play a variety of people, you kind of learn like, oh, okay, I personally don't like it when people eat food at the table while they're playing, or like you start to encounter these things rather than being in the same pools of people. And I feel like that's one of the reasons that's my favorite style. Now, I know you weren't going with that. You were going with, crack-a-pack tournaments or whatnot, I feel like.
Yeah. No, I liked your spin on it. And as you were, walking through it, I think, again, the thing that I find the most with the people at the top end, at least for Ward, I don't want to speak for every trading card game, but as you said, just the passion, the love for the game. I think, not that I'm saying none of the new players who get into the game don't have that passion and love, but they really do get to experience. It's like, okay, even this person who sits here, and like I said, I'm a very competitively driven person when it comes to Ward in general. So it's like, even me, myself, I get to show that person, like, this is what I do with this game. This is how I make this game even have more life to it than what you might think. Like you said, I liked how you brought up that analogy of those two couples playing Pokemon, and one is just collecting the cards, right? It's like, it's not just collecting cards. It's like, how can I almost make this like my, get the most out of the game that I can by, giving all that I have to it. So it's like, yeah, I think it is great for everybody in the community to meet those people. And obviously, even on this podcast, you can see how that radiates off of me. It's like, as much as people might think I'm super negative towards Ward, it's like I'm probably one of the number one supporters of Ward, and I want the most for this game. And I'm assuming you share that too. So, as you are coming back, though, I would love to hear, is it crack packs? Is it what tournament style is your favorite? Maybe, I haven't really got to play you ever in Ward yet, Tristan. Maybe we can find time to get you in a tournament too.
Well, it'd be a pretty easy match for you. I played 4 matches in my lifetime, and 2 of them I found out I played wrong. So, for learning more of the rules. So
that's how everyone starts out Ward. You got to play wrong to play right. All right.
So yeah, I love the game. I really do. I'm a Magic player from the late '90s, and so I had a long hiatus. But I do love the card games. Played a little bit of Pokemon. It didn't grab me. It's not for me. But I was way into Magic, and I don't think I've played a Magic game more than twice in the last 12 months. Just running and a store, owning and running a store. There's just so many things I had no idea about that take up 99% of my day, and then I come home and I'm like,
I'm wiped.
I guess I'll play. To relax, I'll play TCG Shop Simulator on Steam.
There you go.
And
everyone wants to live your life. Don't worry. I know when you see how many people have downloaded that game, you're like, too many people are trying to live my life.
Oh my God. So yeah, yes. Theoretically, I'd love to play it if I ever have time or whatnot. But as far as the getting back to your question.
Wait, I'm curious. I know we're tangenting all over the place, but
sure.
Do you like that there's no resource in Ward? You just said you were a heavy Magic player. I mean, Pokemon has resourcing. Is it nice to have a game where, like you said, you just get to play your cards and you don't have to be like, oh, I didn't draw my land. Oh, I didn't. Those kind of complaints that you hear from other TCGs.
Well, I think it's apples and oranges, to be honest. There are less popular TCGs out there, less popular than Pokemon, Magic, etc. That don't use resource management.
Right.
And so, like, for example, Nostalgics, the other Minnesota made card game that we carry, every round you get 1 more energy or mana. I forget what they call it. And so you and your opponent are both either at the same energy, or one of you, if they went first, has 1 more energy that round. You just kind of go up. And now there's cards that can add to that, but it's just, you just get it each round. And I believe Yu-Gi-Oh kind of operates the same way from my brief moment playing that.
Yeah, a lot of online TCGs have had that, mana requirement where a lot of things are like, okay, like I played what is it called? The card, not a Riftbound, but there's a League of Legends card game online that they basically did that same thing where it's like you have to have 4 mana and your opponent has 4 mana, and then the next turn you have 5 and they have 5 and 6, right? It like goes up and up and up. So yeah,
I think the Warcraft card game does it kind of like that too. I haven't played that for years, but I guess my point is Ward's mechanic of not worrying about drawing energy, mana, land, cards is a great idea. I don't think it really reinvents the wheel, but what I do like that I feel Ward does better than the other ones I've encountered, and I'm not an expert in TCG, so I don't know if others have done this, but what I do like about Ward, whether they're first or not, is that you have the 1 creature down there, and you've got 5 blue cards in your hand. Whether they're one-time use, their field effects, their equipment, what have you. You've got the 1 creature down there. Theoretically, as long as the conditions on the cards are met, you could play off the top of your deck. Bet all those blue cards on the 1 creature you got down there. You could do that. Now, it's probably not going to work out too great playing off the top of your deck using all of your Magic cards on 1 creature.
Right.
But you could. And nothing is stopping you other than having to think forward and strategize about that, because you're not constrained by the resource of land, mana, energy. You're constrained by the natural constraint of drawing a card per turn.
Right.
That's constraining you. So there is still limits, but you get to decide how big you're going to go with any given turn. And I do appreciate that rather than, say, in Magic, which I'm most familiar with, where I've got 5 lands down there, I've got 6 creatures on the field, I've got 5 lands, and in my hand, I've got 6 spells that total would take 25 mana to play if I wanted to play all those spells this turn. I have to pick and choose what creatures, what spell effects with my limited land resource that I'm going to do. Even if something would be super cool if I could only do this and this turn, but it costs 6 land or 6 mana, and I've got 5 down there.
Right.
And so I can't do that really cool thing because I'm limited by the resource. It's almost like teasing me. And with Ward, I'm not getting teased. I'm limited because I don't want to blow all my resources on one creature, but I'm limited because if I do, I'm top decking it. And so I'm not getting teased by what I could do in my hand because of mana or energy. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I think you're painting a great picture too when you contrast it to. I mean, a lot of people would say Magic is probably one of the higher level like brain thinking games. But I there's 2 things that I do want to like iterate with Ward that I found, at least my personal experience, is like you were just bringing up, more of the game is in your head of, okay, what should I play? Like a lot of times, a lot of the misplays people do is just not playing things, right? It's like, oh, they hold on, and then it's like, oh, the game gets away from you, or those kind of things, right? It's not so much like, oh, I just didn't have the cards I needed to play. So as you were saying with the growing and learning, I think that aspect is part of it. But we were also touching on how, like you were saying, your demographic of, moms are getting into this, kids are getting into this. I think this is the biggest core thing that Ward has going. And if I was to try to promote this to other stores, is just say that because of the fact that the game has this no energy requirement, and you can put all the cards on the table, right, on your first turn, kids love that. My kid plays this game. He loves doing that. He loves just throwing everything down that he possibly can equipped onto his creature. And guess what? That's fun for him. And it's like either way, if he wins or loses, he's just happy he got to put, 4 of the same equipment on his creature or whatever. You know what I mean? And so, and same with moms. It's like, well, number one thing. I mean, I have a wife. Everyone, a lot of people have, women, people in their, I'll say not nerds, right? Where they're usually not classified as nerds because they don't get it as nerdy into the game as we do. But they also don't like when you tell them, okay, I want to play this cool looking card, and then you go, oh, well, you need 6 energy to play that card, and then they're like, okay, well, now I don't want to play this game anymore. They're like, this is too much crap for me to think about, and you're just like, okay, Ward doesn't do that. So it's like, if there's one thing, again, I personally think, as you were bringing in kids, bringing in all these people that might not ever be in a TCG, Ward actually has like the best way of making sure everyone can play without having those like complaints, I guess you could kind of say, because even Pokemon, like you said, catered towards children, but obviously, like you said, it ends up being, the demographic of white males that just play because these energy resources, these bigger things in the game that make it harder for people to understand at that younger audience level, where again, Ward is just, I can play all my cards, even if you lose, and you have fun doing it. So yeah, no, I think at the end of the day, you kind of nailed it on the head with all those things. But no, I still don't know what's your favorite tournament that you like to maybe participate, even if you can't. What would be your favorite one to play in? What kind of style?
Well, the favorite ones that I appreciate, now, if taking financials out of it, I think I like the randomness of the dice rolls with Ward, so I got to keep rolling with that, and that is the starter pack duels. I think especially when you allow buy-ins upon a loss, where you can buy another pack once you've lost, but at least the way we run it, it's sight unseen. So you lose your first match with that starter pack. Cool, you want to buy another one? Great, buy another one. But that first pack now goes in your bag, in your coat, whatever. Even if the second pack is worse, you went for what was behind door number 2, Price is Right rules. You don't you gave up the jet ski. I'm sorry you got a donkey cart, but you gave up the jet ski, man. But maybe that jet ski to you were hoping for a speedboat, and maybe you do get a speedboat. But I like the starter pack duels, also because there is a little bit of, because of the 5 extra cards, there is a little bit, even if you get what you think might be a not great starter deck, there's enough card interplay in Ward where if you take those 5 extra cards, the difference between a mediocre deck and above average deck is those 5 cards sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'll
Agreed.
see people complain about the starter deck they got, and someone else will walk over and they'll look. They're like, oh, this is what you played. These are the 5 you took out. Well, right here, you could have done this, this, and this. If you would have just put these 5 cards in and taken these other 5 out, you would have gone from 0-1 to 1-0 probably.
Mm-hmm.
So the starter pack ones, they are ends up being a little bit more expensive because it's not just the tournament buy-in and you bring your cards and whatnot. Those are probably my favorites if I was playing in one because it fits right in with the randomness of it. My second favorite would probably have to be Average Joe's. We do a lot of things in Magic for our tournaments that focus not on the wallet behind the game, but
Yeah,
on
you brought
the
up
card
you brought up
interplay
the
and what you
popper.
can.
Yeah, before.
And so Average Joe's is right there, and you see people discovering new interactions because someone at the tournament. These are cards people don't usually think of playing, but now they're limited to that play set, and now you see people playing with things in ways you didn't think of, and now you're like, oh, I've got 3 copies of that card. I might actually want to put that in my main deck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my top 2 right there: the starter packs and the Average Joes.
No, I like that a lot. And like you were saying, you brought up a couple good points that I really want to touch on. First, when you were bringing up just the 5 cards that you don't play with, that's not even something I really thought too much about, but it's actually a really cool experience to kind of be like, okay, if you had these 5 cards, now another person could sit and brainstorm with you like, oh yeah, this is stuff that you could have adjusted in your deck. And it kind of is, it gives you that like opening to actually have those conversations with people of like, oh, you bought all these cards, you got to make a choice, a decision to what cards you put in. Now we can discuss that, right? Where it's like a lot of other times it's just you get your boosters, that's what you play with. It's just luck at that point, I would say, because me and Billy, we go back and forth. I mean, on this podcast a lot about how crack packs are kind of just luck, but they build some basic mechanics in there to kind of be like, okay, yeah, you actually have to like still think a little bit when you're building your deck with those extra 5 cards. So I really like that part that you were saying. The other thing that you were touching on is just talking about when we were going through the Average Joe. I think that usually caters towards, like you were saying, more experienced players. But again, it's another way where young kids, young people who don't have great income can come in, get the common and uncommon cards. That's all they have to get, which I would say is a lot easier. As someone who has chased the foils and all those other things, it's way cheaper to get those common and uncommons and just start playing Average Joe. And for sure. And so it's like I really think, like you were saying, not only can you get the newer audience in with Average Joe, but also I think experienced audiences like myself love to play in them because, like you said, it's a whole new game where I have to think about, okay, these are the cards I'm limited to. What becomes strong now that those other cards don't exist? And so I actually really like both of those tournament types as well too. But with that, as we're bringing up tournaments, real quick, Tristan, I do want to just plug our tournament we have going on here. We put on our April WWB Cyber Hagen Cup. I don't know if you heard about this, Tristan, yet, but this is so we do the Untapped online tournaments. This is actually a high stakes one. So again, the top prize is $400. Second place is $100. I know we're putting a lot into this. We're trying to make a really big event, and then third place is 5 Gen 3 booster packs for the third place. And how you
those are they in Curious Crow gift cards or is it actually in cash? Because our gift cards you can use online too. So just throwing it out there.
Well, there you go. Maybe we need to do a collab. But we'll get the Curious Crow and the WWB. Well, maybe I'd love to set that up with you after we're done here for sure. But I do want to make sure I let everyone know how to register, Tristan. So for that, again, you are going to have your physical copy of 30 card deck. All the same rules for normal tournaments apply. You can only have 3 copies unless it's on the limited or ban list. So make sure you check the limited ban list for that. All 3 generations are available, so it's a mixed tournament. So again, you can use all the generations of cards. So make sure that you check to see which cards are available. If you have any questions, message me or Billy. Get your full name just to make sure that your rankings get put in properly so that you can make it to that Ward Bowl event. It's right on the horizon, a couple more weeks. And then just the $20 entry, you can Venmo, PayPal me. Both of those things are in the Discord. There will be a Facebook link too that I'll have that will also have the stuff, because the ward staff has constantly let me know that they have a huge group of people on Facebook, so I should be tapping into them as well. So I'll be making sure to make a nice post over there. But again, the Discord is the best place, and if you have any questions, talk to me or Billy. We'd love to help you with that. Tristan, while I have you on here, I am curious, what are your thoughts on online tournaments, and maybe just if there's anything you see from our tournament, maybe we can convince you to maybe jump into, Tristan.
All right. Just one quick question. I'll get right to that. Do
Yep.
you allow promo cards in their decks?
Yep. So promo cards, everything is viable, but again, it's just limited. So every promo card
Right.
is limited to one. So yep.
So we don't allow promo cards at any of our tournaments.
Mhm.
Just throwing that out there, and it makes some people unhappy, and I get it. But just on that tangent, we feel like if your average kid that can't drive themselves to the convention, that
Mhm.
can't buy the quantity of cards to get the promo cards that Ward specials sometimes get you and whatnot, if your average 12-year-old kid can't do it, then that's not a card that we're going to allow in our tournaments. We really want to make that as much as we can a level playing field. 'Cause your average kid has just as much chance, give or take, in any one given pack to get a creator
Right.
or something like that. But they don't usually have the same opportunities to get those promo cards. So
Yeah.
that's my tangent on that.
No,
Now, as far as your question,
I like wait. I like your point there. I mean, obviously, like I said, I oppose you a little bit, and no, there's no whatever hard feelings. I personally have gone to so many tournaments. As much like we were bringing up crack packs and average Joe, there is an abundance of crack packs that the Ward staff love to put on. I get it. Right now, their game is a growing game. They want to get as much product out to people as they can. But I do think there is a lack at this moment of tournaments where people that have put in their hard-earned time to collect all these cards get to play with their full range of cards. And so that is where I personally, as a collector and someone who is very into the game, I will always take that stance of, hey, that we need tournaments where people are allowed to play with all those cards. But I do totally get your point. And that's also another topic I do want to touch with you. For the promo cards, I don't know how much you follow all the promo cards in Ward. I am of the opinion that they are on way too high. Like, they make these cards way too strong for promo cards. I think if you look at a lot of these promo cards, they are on the higher end. I know they are limited, so you can only have one, but they are usually stronger than almost every other card in the game at their level. And I really I don't like that train of thought when it comes to promo cards. I want promo cards to have funny, unique, goofy deck build things you can build around them to make a fun, goofy deck. Like, a good example is their God Killer Brox. He was from their first generation promos, and what he does is basically he does 4 times damage. The only card in the whole game that does 4 times damage to AL 12s. So a fun, goofy deck you can build with that is you buff up their creatures, you give their creatures armor, which I think is super fun to beat them, which that is a cool promo card. But when you start making vanilla, like here, Sweet Tooth is a good example of this Gen 3, where Sweet Tooth is basically the strongest vanilla creature at AL 6 because he's a 4/4 that doesn't take a sack requirement. I know people will bring up Raccoon Knight, all these other things. He himself, I think, is just like, why do we need this as a promo card, right? It's like, that doesn't need to exist. Make a funny, goofy, build a deck around these promo cards, and I think that would be a way better formula. What's your take on it, though? That's just my take on it.
Well, besides the ease of access for everyone for promo cards,
Agreed.
I think that as a Magic player for over 25 years, almost 30 years now, the power creep is something that is worrying, because there are wonderful cards from Magic's history.
Mm-hmm.
For example, one of the more famous ones, Savannah Lions. I think it's 1 white mana for a 2 attack, 2 defense creature.
Right.
That was insane back then. I mean, normally you're paying 2 mana for a 2/2, or maybe even usually 3 mana for a 2/2 creature.
Right.
And Savannah Lions, though, because it was on the lower power scale on the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a 6 attack, 6 health type creature. It's a 2 attack, 2 health, or I forget if it's 2 attack, 1 health, whatever. It was still insane power for the cost. It wasn't that overpowered, because quickly by turn 3 or 4 or 5, you could deal with that Savannah Lion. It just gave a little bit of an edge for the person that had it in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It was still a super powerful card.
Right.
Now in Magic, you have cards, that are 4 casting costs for a 4/4 flyer with Death Touch. So not only does it have flying, but it also has this other thing or 2 things that it does. And usually you line up the mana cost to the attack and power.
Right.
So that's where the power creep has gotten. And not only does it destroy the use of these old cards, which are not only a part of the history of the game,
Mm-hmm.
that have beautiful artwork. Like if let's take the financial side out of it, throw it out the window. If you're just a fan of playing the game, unless there are places like the Crow that have specific things dictated towards encouraging you to play these inefficient cards anymore compared to
Right.
what's come out, you don't ever get to see them again except in collection binders
Mm-hmm.
or in bulk bins. And they've kind of been thrown aside. And so my concern with promo cards, like I stated in the beginning, is not only equal access for everyone, including these kids,
I really agree with that.
but it's also the danger of power creep. And I think Ward is. I know they're promo and they're limited, which goes against, my everyone has access, because if they
Right.
are super limited, then it's not naturally going to buff the power creep.
Mm-hmm.
But if your community is still not at the Yu-Gi-Oh level, or obviously not Magic or Pokemon level as far as buyers around the world or even in the country,
Right.
then the percentage of your community right now that is spending the money or going to the conventions to get the promo cards is much higher than it would be if the community was much larger. So you have a large part of the community that does those things, that have those promo cards, which means the power creep is maybe a little bit more real than you would guess in the beginning for it coming from just promo cards. And if they are only, 4 years in
Mm-hmm.
to Ward, and the power creep didn't start really for Magic until a decade and a half in, and it started creeping up. It is a little concerning for me, not only for the coming 2 to 5 years from now, will we ever see even moderately powerful cards right now being played anymore? But we're going to miss out on seeing that artwork, the unique combinations that comes from all these different card mechanics, because for the same AL, you get this speed and you get this, whatever, but you get this many hit dice and this special effect.
Mm-hmm.
You're missing out on a bunch of things that it almost shrinks the card pool down, even though you have more cards 5 years from now. It shrank because of the power creep. And that's my concern with that. And I personally think, as far as whatever my 2 cents, and I have no skin in the game other than a retailer that buys their product and resells it.
But yeah, your opinion matters just as much as anyone else's. Like I said, that's why we have you on here. It's like, it's important.
I think the Ward players are so devoted, whether it's the kids to the ones that have been playing it for the whole 4 years.
Right.
In my opinion, you need special artists. You need special art treatments of cards. You need unique foils. Give me a reason to play Big Buck, Twirl, Raccoon, some of these little piddly creatures that really don't have any upside other than flavor, or you drew them in a starter pack.
Or it's
Give me a
to
reason.
min-max your HP, right? It's like, oh, this is
Right.
how I get the most value out of my HP. Yeah.
Right, is give me a guest artist that made a raccoon in a traditional Japanese art style, or a French impressionist painting style of a squirrel,
Okay.
or a graffiti style of this, or what have you, Banksy style of whatever. And not only are you going to, if you make them collector packs, or maybe in the next round you insert them randomly in packs, make them like the unique cards in Gen 3.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious.
But
Wait, to hold you on that
Focus
thought.
on unique art treatments.
But to hold you on that thought, so if Gen 4 came out right now, what would be your ratio of those alt art cards, and then what was the ratio of like new cards to be made, right? Like you said, so that they not so much new, but you know what I mean. They can kind of balance out with those alt cards. Like, what would be your thought? Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Just spit out numbers of like what's the ratio of like new cards to alt arts, because I definitely have my own take on these things.
So here's 2 options that I see: the Pokemon route or the Magic route. Now the Pokemon route, and there could be a third option I'm not considering, but the Pokemon route, they release a set, and they'll have another Squirtle or another Charmander,
Right.
but their HP is slightly different, and their attack move is slightly different, and maybe all the other stuff on the card is slightly different. Still Charmander, but it's slightly different. So they could go the route of, okay, Gen 4 comes out, we have another Squirrel or Raccoon or whatnot, or Big Buck. But this one has slightly more armor level, slightly less speed. Or this one has less on both. They're worse in speed and worse in armor level, but they get a +1 to their attack dice. So they count technically, maybe it's a slight, raccoon, new raccoon, or whatever they want to call the name. So you technically could have 3 old raccoons and 3 new raccoons, and now you can start building more typal. You could have a whole raccoon deck. And there's that route, the Pokemon route, kind of going with that.
Gotcha.
There's also the Magic route of, they already kind of have themes. Gen 2 is the undead, Gen 3 is orcs.
Right.
Gen 4, let's say hypothetically they do I don't know, just throwing something out there. They do a cyberpunk.
Yep.
Cyberpunk's the theme for Gen 4.
Gotcha.
So then in Cyberpunk, the Steam Spider and Steam Wolf, you bring them back, you give them different art. Maybe you don't change them up at all, but you brought them back with different art, and they're there again. So they're technically the same card, but now when someone uses one of those, oh, do you have the the old Gen 1, or do you have the Gen 4 one? Oh, that's pretty cool. Or you can spice it up and have different whatevers in there because they're the same card. They've got the same name. Everything's the same except for the art.
So you would say this is the Magic route? Because in my honest opinion, doesn't Magic kind of like take a new name of a card but just kind of give it the same effect as an old card? Or am I guess that's kind of how I usually see
they do
Magic.
both. But we'll see like reprints, say from a set from 2015, Fate Reforged. We'll have Tamir Sabertooth, a cat, green, and they'll have that in Fate Reforged from 2015.
Yep.
Then in a set, like let's call it Eternal Masters, which I think was from 2018.
Gotcha.
They'll reprint the card.
Yep.
They'll either give it new art, or it will be the exact same card, but it's within that set because it thematically made sense in that set. So the only difference is the set symbol on it. That's the only difference. It gives new players that maybe didn't get a chance to buy Fate Reforged packs a chance to get it outside of finding it in a bulk bin or whatever it is as a single.
Right.
So there's that route. Or Magic will say take a Planeswalker like Liliana from Core Set 2015. Liliana something is her name. Let's call her Queen of the Dead.
Right.
And she has X, Y, and Z powers from 2015. And then in 2020, they released Liliana Undead Queen or Master of the Undead. And it's a completely different card, so you can also have that in your deck with the other Liliana, and it's got completely different powers. They're both Liliana, but you can start to build more flavorful decks. So they do both, where it's literally the same card. Maybe they'll change the art on it, but it's still, the name's the same, so it counts as one of your copies of that card. Or they'll give it all new stuff. It's still the same person, like Steam Spider, but instead they call it High Steam Spider. And now it's got completely different stuff. It's still a Steam Spider in the Ward example here.
Right.
There's a bunch of different ways they could go about it. But honestly, I think Ward fans would just go nuts over unique art. And they don't have to change the name, change the card. Unique art, unique style of foiling, whatever it is. And that can encourage you, even if the raccoon is not any stronger than it was with the original version of raccoon. But now it's graffiti style raccoon. Okay, well, now I love the art so much, I'm going to throw one in my deck just because I got a graffiti art raccoon. That's pretty cool. Or a full art raccoon.
Right.
Where the entire card is the art of the raccoon type thing.
Yeah, I think the Ward staff really does like the alt art, like you said. I don't think they'd care. I mean, you could change the stats and stuff, but I think they would definitely go more for the alt art. And I do like how you kind of, walked us through all those things, because as somebody who isn't that big into Magic, it's like I don't know all those things, and it sounds like you said you use the Pokemon knowledge to kind of make those things. I like I said, as it stands for like the 150, I mean, Ward, I don't know. I like the way that they go about with the 150s. I don't think they should ever have more than 150. I also like the way they go about the 30 card deck when you were talking about power creep. I really do think the 30 card deck plus the 300 HP cemetery are two like things in Ward specifically that really hold the game to a certain standard that they don't have to deviate too much from. Yes, they can make cards that do that. I mean, another thing is AL. They can make cards with 13 AL or whatever the hell they want to do from that point. But I do think that there are some pretty strong mechanics that they've built in the game that really do help with the power creep. Because like you said, you could always make something really strong, but then give it some weakness of like, okay, but this takes this much cost. Or, Enlightened Soul is a good example where it goes to the cemetery, it affects your cemetery somehow, so it's not as strong, or there's just a lot of ways that I think they could go about it, but I do get what you mean. I don't want to see a bunch of cards that just sit in the bin and don't see play. I really think that Ward, like you were bringing up all those little creatures, I've always had this idea of a magic card that's a field spell that basically just enhances little creatures, also like, makes them limited, all those things, like just let
I want to build a Snow White deck someday. The more of these little forest creatures that they
Yep.
come out with, I want to build one, and hopefully they do come out with a card I can use as Snow White. And I don't care how competitive it is. I want to stick hardcore to that Snow White theme, have maybe a poison apple card, some sort of princess card, and just put in all these little forest creatures with a few dwarves and like a woodcutter, and like that's my Snow White deck. And I think whether I win or lose, it would just be fun to play that. Like, oh yeah, I got this Disney princess deck, and I think that'd be fun to play.
No, 100%. And like you said, whenever you put cutesy creatures in your game, another avenue to get other demographics in that aren't just 40-year-old male white men. And even though it's like that's usually kind of where we all sit, but it's like, hey, though, that is the kind of stuff that you should be thinking about, because like you said, it doesn't have to be, right, make all these, as much as I know Fabricio likes his abs and his boobs and all that stuff, it's like, yes, it's all great, but like you said, there's so much room for a lot of these other cards to see play, and like I said, some mechanics in Ward help with that. I think them themselves too can try to slowly make these theme decks. Like you said, it sounds like you're very heavily on like the archetype theme deck, which I think a lot of people that I've talked to, that is kind of the one thing that I think Ward is missing a little bit right now, is like they kind of get their pack of 30 35 cards in a starter pack, or when they were buying starters, and it was like, okay, well, there's a lot of cool cards, but I don't really have like my card. They want to have their card that makes them feel like this is showing my personality in the game award of how I view the game. So it's like, I think that is probably something they could take from that. No, I really do like that talk. We are kind of winding down. I do want to give you a chance, so if you want to, Tristan, would you like to maybe give some advice or critique to the ward staff of just like having that relationship between you and the ward staff as a card store owner? I think that'd be really good to get some information on your end about it, about how it kind of feels like for you, or if there's anything that maybe the ward staff could do to kind of improve.
To be honest,
It sounded like promo cards. Maybe give me more promo cards. That sounded like maybe something you were having.
Well, to give out to kids, yeah.
Exactly, to give to people.
One of our distributors that we went through in the beginning, and we still go through, if we bought X amount of Ward stuff, we would get a promo card. Well, a promo card when we bought 12 boxes, cool, but how do I decide what kid to give that to? Like, it's like impossible. So, I mean, for retailers, like, I do have a distribution channel that I can go to for discounted stuff and to be able to sell it at the MSRP. That's not the issue.
No.
So yeah, it would be nicer as a retailer to get our hands on more of that stuff, and maybe some of that's on my end in my relationship building with Ward. So I'm not going to throw that on their doorstep. Okay. I will say, for the most part, they've been very vested in our success with Ward and building the community around it, and they've been very supportive of what we're trying to do with it in the community, and they seem pretty excited.
I do want to say,
know they're not.
I do want to say that you are sorry, I don't want to cut you off. I do want to say you are probably one of the biggest pillars of the Ward, community as it stands as a card store or shop owner. I would say you're probably one of the most invested that I have seen, and personally, I want to tell everybody how much I appreciate that. But also, I think, like you said, the Ward staff should also very much appreciate that, because you guys have definitely consistently been putting on Ward events. You have been pushing Ward, like I said, having an online store for people to access singles. I think there are so many things that you guys are currently doing at Curious Crow that I just want to make sure that are getting shouted out. That I wouldn't mind if all the other stores, kind of take on some of these things and try to work. But again, I don't know your full your full relationship with the Ward staff. But like you said, I'm sure it's good to be able to kind of give them some information of like, here, this is kind of where we're at with it, just so that they can hear it, because they do watch this podcast and obviously keep up to date with it. So, sorry, I'll let you continue.
No, thank you for shouting that out. And I mean, to be fair, I know they're not, enterprise level business here. So some of these critiques are right. But I mean, some of these are the same ones and issues that we're facing at the Crow. We've been open a year and a half. In August, it'll be 2 years. Mm-hmm. And we're at the point now where we're busy enough now. We probably should have another person on, but we can't afford it. But we're business-wise, we're like at that weird crossroads, right?
Right.
So Ward, I feel like, with all the conventions that they do, the tournament support that they do, and all the things that they do right, their ideas and things like that I'm a fan of. Yeah, I feel like they're kind of at the equivalent point with us, where could they use a dedicated communication specialist that beyond some of the people that wear 8 different hats?
Right.
Sure. Can they afford that? If they're anywhere like us, I'm guessing they can't. Like, yeah, pie in the sky,
it's a big decision,
salary,
right?
We'll bring them on.
But it's a big decision, right? They're at a point where it's like, okay, this is something they probably need to, invest in if they really want to do it or not. No, I gotcha.
So, and I don't know exactly where they're at with that, but I would say they're probably at the same crossroads we are, and it's a tough place to be. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm saying, oh, poor us, we're going up in business. But there's a point, there's a certain level where you're not making enough, but you're at the point of busy and how much you are selling and making, where you really, for customer service, for everything, running of the business, you could use another person, but you're not quite there yet, affording wise. So, so some of the communication that I have with them, as awesome as it is, sometimes my emails get lost, and I get that.
Right.
Sometimes miscommunications happen, but again, it's minor things. It's nothing huge. It's, I'll talk to them about, Gen 1 product, and I'll get an email about Gen 2 product. Mm-hmm. Like, you heard me, you listened, you responded.
Right.
I'm so happy. But it was about Gen 1, not 2. And so I chalk it up to, they're, like I said, they're at that point
wearing 12 hats. Yeah, exactly.
And they are doing tremendous, and
yeah, for being a staff of 5 people right now, yes, you do have to give it up to them. They are definitely trying to push very hard with just that little group, and you can tell at some point there will, as this game keeps growing, it's like, yep, you're gonna have to get these people that are dedicated to these specific things, and yeah, as somebody who also communicates with them pretty heavily, like I said, I share some of your feelings. I don't want to put them on blast. I want to make sure we give proper, we'll praise you guys, we'll give you everything, for the Ward staff, because it's like they do a lot of great stuff. I would say tons more positives, but there are always those things that it's like, here, we want to give you our feedback, because it's like, I think all this stuff helps them, make better connections with you. Like you said, it's like those little things where it's like, okay, you guys as store owners, you need to communicate with them and have these things. Another thing that I do want to bring up, I am curious, because I have talked to, I have John, who's at Globe News here, and then a couple other people. It's like, the Ward staff do love to put on these like discount things on their website, which I can only imagine is very hard for like store owners like you guys to compete with, like when it comes to like selling product. That I'm very curious. Again, this isn't like here, let's harp about it, but it's more just like, how do you feel about that? Is it like, do you feel like they should be doing these discounted stuff on their own official website, or should they be trying to let you guys be the ones to sell the product more and kind of carry that end?
Well, I can't speak for other game stores, but I can speak for us. And whether it is Ward, Magic the Gathering, or Pokemon, Riftbound, Nostalgics, any of the TCG games that we're into.
Yep.
There's always going to be price competition. And whether it is someone that came across a pallet of whatever and is selling them for damn near what we can buy the stuff for in a distribution market on eBay,
Yeah.
or it is the manufacturer themselves doing it like War does their discounts.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, either one is really a competition for us and our sales, right?
Right.
But we really don't worry about that for two reasons. One, we don't sell sealed product of any card game online.
Mhm.
So if you want to order online, it's not through us. So that's the first part.
Right.
Second, like with all of our sealed card games, we don't partner with distributors, not for our beverage, not for our snacks, and not for our new sealed product.
Mhm.
So what that means is we don't get distribution level pricing. So when you come in and you buy a pack of cards from us, you buy a box from us. The exception is we did find a distributor for Ward, but that's a whole different thing. Wizards and the Pokemon Company have a lot of requirements that we weren't willing to follow. So we are not official. We don't get the discount pricing because we're not official stores. You won't find us on their list.
No, I appreciate your honesty. I mean, like you said, that's definitely something. You know, it's like I'm glad you guys have a set of like rules and morals that you're like, here, you know, if you don't want to agree with our terms, like it's like okay, we will just take it on whatever price that everyone else pays. No, I
Right.
appreciate that a lot.
So when we sell our sealed cards, yeah, is it going to be a little bit more expensive at our store? Yep, it will be. Will we be gouging? No. But do we have overhead? Do we have a higher cost because we won't deal with distributors? Yep. But if you're coming to do business with us, once you set foot in the door, and you notice, if you have eyes in your head, you notice right away what we're all about. We've got our signs, our flags, everything at the front of the store. We've got our feeling that you get when you walk in. You've got all sorts of indicators. Either you're on our page or you're not. And if you're not, we get it. There's plenty of other places that don't wear a lot of these things on their sleeves.
Right.
But the people that do vibe with what we are serving up understand that I'll have this conversation with anyone about our costs and what goes into us. And yes, that pack of Magic cards is $7.99. Yep, TCG Player has it for $5.08.
Yep.
Now maybe they charge $1 shipping on that, but still, that's like $1 cheaper even with shipping.
No, for sure.
Yep,
I
you're right.
appreciate I appreciate
And so-
your transparency. I guess, you know, like I said, I don't want to go too crazy down
No.
it. I guess for me it's
In
just
general, Ward sales, if they want to run sales on their product to grow their brand, overall long game, that helps us out. They're growing their brand by pumping up sales, pumping up card sales through sales and promotions. New players, 20% off, things like that.
right.
I don't worry about it because at the end of the day, we're believers in Ward. We're believers in our community. Our community believes in us. And if you want to come in and buy a booster box from us for $145 plus tax for 24 booster packs, and Ward's got it 20% off on their website, I don't know if that they still charge shipping on top of that. I'm assuming they would. Maybe sometimes they don't. I don't know.
I think
But-
it just depends if you get over $100 or whatever. They have
Sure.
some way, but most times if you're buying that much product, you're usually getting over those numbers. But
Right.
yeah,
And
either
so
way.
you're coming into our store like another Discord member, and I don't know his Discord name, so I'm not going to put him on blast, but he comes to our store and he buys packs of booster packs of cards, sometimes booster boxes, and he sometimes posts his polls on here. He's pulled 2 or 3 creators out of booster packs. I know he knows he can get them cheaper if he orders them through Ward.
Yeah, and I think he
I know he's
also
not a new
I think he knows that too. Like I said, I think he is someone who
We're not
also,
shy. I've even told some of our parents with kids to come through. I'm like, hey, they're running a sale on their website. Or they'll come in and tell me, I'm like, you should totally do it. Like, shop with us if you want to give us your money.
Right.
Like, we have the margin we need to make on these salaries, lights, all that stuff we got to pay for. Ward's got to pay for what they've got to pay for, and they've got to grow a brand. We've got to grow a brand too. And part of our brand is staying true to what we feel like we need to stay true to, and that is being upfront with our pricing. Yep, we're not going to match or compete with the Ward sale. And it's a sweet deal. You should go and do that. You're here now. If you want to support us and help us, great. And even if you buy from Ward online, I won't take that as a knock that you don't want to support us. I will take that as you want to save money where you can. This economy is rough. So even when it's not rough, it's never dumb to save money. So when Ward discounts the stuff, more power to them. I want them to grow the brand. I don't worry about it at all.
Yeah, I think the message that you left there at the end, I think it definitely you covered it all. And honestly, like you said, I really appreciate, like you said, you were very transparent, Tristan, with all of those things. And like you said, not a lot of people would be that transparent. As we wind down the show, though, I think that was a great thing. Again, shout out your guys' company, the Curious Crow Company in Lexington, Minnesota. Make sure if you are looking for Ward, as Tristan said, there's tons of other TCGs. They have video games, basically all of Tristan's hobbies you'll get to experience if you walk into the door. And as he was saying, it's super spacious, has all the commodities you can need, drinks, food, beverages, a huge place to have events or just play it with your friends. And again, thank you for coming on, Tristan, and talking about Ward. Is there any final thoughts you have as we wrap up?
Well, I want to thank you for having me, Harry. And I think the only thing I would like to end with, if I could, is bringing it all back to community, whether it's the Ward community, whether it is the TCG community, the gaming community. It really is all about you and the people around you in your neighborhood, in your city, in your state. And if we all focus a little bit more on community, I think this world would be a better place. And here at the Crow, what we like to do is put community above anything else. We do plenty of food drives. We have classes, all sorts of things like that. So we're more than just a game store. We put our money and our reputation all out there on the line. If you go and find us on Facebook, we're not shy about our beliefs. And if you don't hold them, that's fine. But we will not sit on the fence. We believe in community, with the power of community, and we will continue to stand for that. And we hope to see you there and to build the Ward community, and anyone else that wants to be a part of something bigger, come on out to the Crow.
No, for sure. And that word community you bring up, I mean, is something I also preach a lot when it comes to WWB. That is one of our core things. Is this podcast that I have built has basically been for the community of Ward. Like you said, I don't get paid by the company. I'm not affiliated with Ward in any such way. I am just an avid fan that collects Ward, wins their tournaments. But you get what I mean. I put a lot of my time and energy into this, and I'm not trying to get anything in return out of it. I would do this, like I said, I'm doing it right now, and I don't get paid to do this. So it's like, again, the community is what I care about. I want to build and foster and grow that community. So I share that sentiment with you, Tristan. And with that, guys, I think we will wrap this up. Tristan, I'd love to have you on maybe again sometime in the future. But this will be episode 59 of WWB. You guys have a great week.
Thank you.